Okay, welcome back to another episode of Third and 23. I'm your host, Alex, here to bring you my Week 11 NFL picks and predictions. If you count the Thursday night primetime game last week, went 3-3 last week, so we're still 3 games over 500, so still slightly over 50%. Still trying to reach our goal of 60% ATS accuracy for the season. So we're going to start this week off with 3 games in this video. I'm going to have a couple more games as I usually do. Few games and a video with few games on Sunday and a video, few games on Saturday. This video, we're going to have 3 games on tap for you. We're going to start it off with the Packers as a 5.5-point favorite against the Chicago Bears. Now, first thing when you're looking at this game, if you haven't heard the news, the Bears fired their offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, and they replaced him with Thomas Brown, who Thomas Brown was a running backs coach, but he was the offensive coordinator for Carolina last season. He took over the play calling in week 6 and was calling plays for Carolina through the end of the year. Didn't go well for him, but Carolina was also the worst team in the NFL, so how much of that is really on him? So now he comes into a situation where he's dealing with a rookie QB and Caleb Williams, who's been struggling, who's been under duress. Chicago's allowed 15 sacks the last 2 games. Part of it is offensive line injuries. They're going to get some of those guys back, by the way. And part of it is Caleb not seeing guys open, holding the ball too long. That's what I'm seeing. I was seeing more like Caleb was looking like a rookie versus the offensive coordinator calling poor plays or poor design plays and whatnot. So that's how I'm seeing things, but maybe you guys see things differently. Apparently the Bears saw things differently as they fired the OC. Now, also looking at this game offensively, you're looking at Chicago, as I mentioned with Caleb Williams struggles. They're also only averaging 6.1 yards per attempt. Now, Green Bay, on the other hand, allows 7.2 yards per attempt. The Green Bay is not the best pass defense out there, so this is a game that Caleb could find some air holes and hit some plays, but he's been struggling lately, and I just don't see things getting right or turning completely around after just 1 week with as bad as he struggled the past 2 weeks. And the story of this game for me is going to be the Bears defense against the Green Bay offense. We know Jordan Love is a good quarterback with a stable of receivers. We know Chicago is a very good pass defense, so that's going to be kind of like a wash in my view. But the biggest thing is going to be the ground attack. Josh Jacobs and that Green Bay Packers running game averages 154 yards per game. That's third in the NFL. And Chicago is not a good run defense. 133 yards per game they allow, 4.8 yards a carry. Green Bay as a team averages 5 yards a carry. Green Bay should be able to control the flow of this game with their running game. I think Josh Jacobs is going to have a really good game. I think Jordan Love is going to hit some plays downfield and play action, despite the fact they're going against a good Bears secondary. So for me, I'm going to go with Green Bay, and I'm going to lay the 5.5. Green Bay owns Chicago, and I don't expect it to change this week. Next game, we're going to keep it in the NFC North, and we're going to go with the Vikings, 6-point favorite, visiting the Tennessee Titans. So this game, for starters, Tennessee, I have my own power rankings. In my power rankings, Tennessee, one of the worst teams in the NFL. Second worst is what I have them listed as. Horrible team, just horrible offensively in the sense that they don't have a quarterback, whether it be Will Levis or Mason Rudolph. They haven't had a quarterback all season be able to engineer any kind of threatening passing attack. The wide receivers, Calvin Ridley, I think, is a good player sometimes, but nothing really that threatens a team. And in their running game, I think Tony Pollard's been having a pretty good year, but they're always trailing, so they kind of takes Tony Pollard and the running game out of it. In this game, you're going to see, again, the Titans average 126 yards per game, 10th in the league on the ground, but they're going against the second-ranked rush defense in the league in Minnesota. So I don't think Tony Pollard, this isn't a game to me that Tony Pollard is going to have some good runs going. I don't think they're going anywhere. I think it's going to be the passing game is what's going to really have to open up the running game for Tennessee, and I just don't think that's going to happen. 6.1 yards per attempt is what Tennessee's averaging this season, and they're going against a team in Minnesota, 6.8 yards, top 10 in the league. This is a very strong pass defense. This is a very strong run defense. And that's going to be the deciding factor in this game is I think Minnesota's defense is going to control Tennessee throughout this game. I don't see the Titans scoring a lot. By the way, Minnesota's also 20th in the league. 20th. First in the league in takeaways with 20 forced turnovers this season. And Titans are the exact opposite of that, 30th in the league, giving the rock up. So I think this is a game where you're going to see Minnesota's defense dominate Tennessee. Now, this game did scare me a little bit because of Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold he did this a couple years ago too. He starts off fast and then he comes back down to earth, and that's what we're kind of seeing with Sam Darnold. I think you're seeing him come back down to earth, but in this game, with a Tennessee offense that I don't think is going to move the ball very much against Minnesota, I don't think they're going to score a lot of points. To me, in this game, Minnesota probably only has to hit 20 to be able to cover this 6. So I'm going to go with Minnesota. I think they're going to hit 20. They're probably going to hit more than 20. I think Jettis is going to have a good game. I think Darnold's going to look decent in this game at least. So give me Minnesota. I'm going to lay the 6. Final game, we're going to go with the Colts visiting the New York Jets. And sorry, you can't see the spread. And the Jets are a 4-point favorite in this game. So for me, this one's kind of easy to break down. You have a Colts defense that struggled this season. They struggle against the pass. They struggle against the run. Against a Jets offense that struggled this season. They struggle passing the ball, and they struggle running the ball. You know, let's call it what it is. Aaron Rodgers is looking kind of washed. I mean, I'm not going to call him washed, but he's on fumes. Devontae Adams still is trying to find his way, I guess you could say, in this New York Jets offense. Breece Hall isn't really taking over running the football. The Jets offense is just not producing the way you would expect with the names that they have on that team. And the Colts, similarly, their defense hasn't produced, though I don't think anybody was expecting them to produce, but the Colts defense hasn't been a brick wall against the run or against the pass. So this is kind of a bad versus bad situation. One thing to note in this game, though, is the Colts running game, led by Jonathan Taylor, averages 4.7 yards per carry. That's 10th in the league. The Jets' rush defense allows 134 yards per game. They have not been good against the run. One of the reasons is C.J. Mosley has missed a lot of time this season. And C.J. Mosley, their inside linebacker, is going to be out for this game too. So for me, I don't see this as a game that the Jets all of a sudden are going to be able to buckle down and start stuffing the run. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to have a good game in this one. Now, if you haven't heard the news, Anthony Richardson, the quarterback for the Colts, has been inserted back into the starting lineup. They took out Joe Flacco. They realized that Joe Flacco is washed. He can't push the ball downfield whatsoever, and that offense was going nowhere. They wouldn't have won another game if they started Flacco the rest of the year. So they went back to Anthony Richardson. If you see here, 7.2 yards per attempt isn't terrible, but 44 completion percentage is. It's been noted all the comments that Anthony Richardson has made, and he's been clowned on it about it. But one thing that people don't realize is Anthony Richardson has hit some big highlight level plays downfield. He also has very good running ability. So you're playing against a Jets team that struggles against the run. So to me, Jonathan Taylor running the ball, Anthony Richardson running the ball, Colts are going to be able to run the ball. And teams that can run the ball typically control the game flow, especially when they're going against an offensive team or when they're going against a team where their offense isn't capable of quick strike touchdowns, right? So this isn't a game where the Jets are going to just jump out on top 21-0 and take the running game out of it. No, that's not going to happen. So for me, I like the Colts keeping this game pretty competitive throughout. I like them controlling the clock with their ground attack. I'm not going so far as to say, oh, well, you already see my pick. I didn't realize I didn't take it off. But I'm not going so far as to say the Colts will win. But give me Indy with the +4 in this one. So that wraps it up for this video. As I said, I'm going to have a couple more games for sure, 2 more games tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for that. And you're going to see and if you like the content, please like, follow, subscribe, as you can see my YouTube handle here in a few seconds. Take care.